went up to my local shops this morning. Walking through the car park, I realised just exactly how few of the stores there I actually go into or I actually used. It has probably most of what you want. It's got a pharmacy, it's got a small grocery store, it's got a fruit shop. There's a post office there, which is probably one of the best things, having a post office not too far away. Bottle shop, all important. That's about it that I've used. There's
estate agent, cafes, shops, preschool, accountants, dentists, colleges, bakery, a couple of restaurants, fitness first type things.
You know, I'm not sure what else because I haven't ventured through it. There's a lot more there than I originally thought. All in this little area that's close by, to realise sort of how fewer things you use, or I use, locally, because I use other things that are other places that are further away, like grocery stores that are bigger. It just sort of dawned on me how much of the local area I'm not making use of. The closest I sort of get to experiencing and appreciating where I live is when I'm walking the dogs. Otherwise you just sort of jump in the car and go somewhere. And it should probably really make more of an effort to be more local. So much of my life isn't local. Like my school's an hour away. How far do I spread the circle out to say this is local? I haven't been to get rid of my recycling for ages, so I've got the back of the truck filled with the recycling, and my wife wants me to get a couple of things back out of storage. Up for a trip. My body still felt like it needed to get up at 4 AM, so it woke me up at 4 AM. And I rolled over and said, no. Just had an interesting conversation with a young bloke near the return and earn machine I just went to. The can and bottle side, plastic bottles, was playing up. And this guy had said, who was there, he said to me, it's working, you just got to sort of wait. If it says it's got to be maintained, wait a few minutes and then it comes back up. And I tried to use it and my cans were going in one section but then weren't going past the next bit. The belt wasn't running. I did my glass ones, that was working fine. Basically given up on the plastic and cans. And this other young bloke pulled up in a ute, and he was the service agent. And he said, it probably just needs a clean, take about 3 minutes. And I went, all right. So I'd sat the stuff in the truck, and I was just there, just about to check an email and that sort of stuff. And he called out and said, yes, it's working. So I went over. While I'm doing it and he's cleaning the other things, I think he just had to clean the sensors. I just started talking to him. I said, so is your job to go around and service the machines? And he said, yeah, service the machines and clean up all the rubbish that's lying around it. And he said, like, there was that trolley sitting there that was just full of plastic bags and boxes and stuff that people had chucked into there. And while he was there servicing the machine, this bloke came up, dumped all the stuff out of the trolley so he could take the trolley across to his car to bring across his bottles and cans. And he said, I just don't understand the sense of that. He just dumped it in behind the machine in the gardens. I noticed when a lot of the machines first came out, they'd have a couple of bins near them. People would just leave stuff lying around the sides of them. And he said, yeah, a lot of places, if the area around them aren't maintained, the machines are being taken out. I hope too many more don't disappear because I said, I hope this one doesn't disappear because I can use it. And he said, there's one near St Mary's shops in behind the shopping centre. I said, yeah, I know that one, I use that. And he said, that's been taken out because people were just leaving so much rubbish around it that the tenant or the manager or something like that of the Woolworths that's in that area, their loading bay or something is just behind it, and they've had enough of the rubbish that's being dumped around there that they've said, you need to remove that machine. And I said, was that the reason why one disappeared over near the Leagues Club? And he said, yeah, that was one of the worst ones of all. It just had trash lying all over the place. And it was out in the open. And so if you were driving past it on the main road, you'd just see this big trash pile. And he said, yeah, that was one of the worst ones. That's why that one got taken out. When I bring my stuff down, it's either in the big plastic bag that I reuse for all the big bottles and stuff, or the cardboard boxes that cans and glass bottles come in, I use that and then take the box home and chuck it in the recycling bin. And he said, yeah, my mum's the same. she collects heaps and heaps and heaps and brings them down in one big go, and she takes all her trash home and puts it back in the bins. He said, I just don't understand the people who've got no respect for the area. Back at school, just had year 11 working on their mallet. Still two are finished. Got it all shaped nicely and put together. Some of the others are going really well. Bit of a hectic day here at school. It's really, there's a few people out, there's meetings, there's excursions, and apparently 15 classes that couldn't be covered at all because of the lack of casuals. I'm meant to have the next 2 periods off, but I've been given one of my staff's classes because he's out on an excursion, so that's a class on top of my usual load. But we're talking about collapsing classes. We've already been doing that big time. Interesting development. So I've got year 8 after recess, so I'm going to go get some recess. So doing a bit of replanting along the front fence. I've got these wild iris all over the place, which we had in the yard, and I managed to score some from some people in the local neighbourhood where we were getting rid of them. So I've put another one here just to get a little bit closer to the fence, and we'd like them to run all the way down this fence line. So when we got down to here, we had this other grass that has this nice purple flower on it. It bushes out a lot more, and this is the iris. So pulled out some of the other grass, I don't know what that one's called. Planted some of the wild iris that we bought from Bunnings. They will hopefully bush out and become like this with the flowers. I know one of them had flowers when we bought it. And we moved the grass with the purple flowers up here to the front so it can sort of bush out along the fence. It'll bush out this way as well, hopefully not too close to the walkway. And little flowers that we had planted here. This is what happens when you use homemade compost. I'm just waiting for these 2 things to go red. Some tomatoes. So you can see where they're sprouting up around the flowers because that's where I used the compost. I mustn't have had much compost at this one. I've got these ones sprouting up here. It's a big plant, and another one there. Got some little tomatoes here growing. Another little one here. Tell you what, if I could get those to grow along the fence, that'd be great. I might see if I can move them to allow these little flowers to flourish. Because this one here, they look like a little flame. It's really struggling, but the other ones are really bouncing back. The cord lines are going well down there. Those things are going to go in the backyard. In the past week, we've had some deliveries that have actually used this walkway, the stairs, rather than using the driveway, which is good. Good to see that it's working. I'm going to build some planters at the bottom of this for the roses. I need to get one of these cord lines over to replace one that I basically killed in that back box with the weed whacker. I'm going to move that big one up into there. I've got to redo the soil and that sort of stuff in that box to get down a bit deeper, put cardboard in the bottom. I'm going to put that big one up there and put one of those little ones down in the front so it's not so big in front of the pond. Down in the backyard, still got some bamboo stumps down here, but wife wants me to do a planting down this bottom corner with those yuccas and stuff that were up the front. So I'm going to try and dig out some of this dead stuff. We've got some agapanthus up in the middle of the yard there, which can sort of fill in the back corner a bit along the fence line, and then our nicer plants can be in front. And we've got some little grasses that we're hoping will survive because we bought them ages ago, and I forgot to plant them. Well, I shouldn't say forgot, I've neglected to plant them. So we'll see what we can do, because this is basically just a swampy area that you can't do much with. So we may as well plant it out. Slight change to the design. Just decided to do it just like we had at the side of the house next to the stairs. So going yucca, agave, yucca, agave, yucca. I've got more agave, so I can put another agave. All this agapanthus I can use. There's a few little spots along the back which are a little sparse. I've got the agapanthus right down the end near the fence. That big tall yucca. Okay. This little yucca we just had sitting in a pot because I'd broken off one of the others. This one's a big one. It's got a little pup out the bottom. It sort of breaks up the back of the yard. I think I'll leave that till tomorrow. It's 5 o'clock and I'm already buggered. Meant to be hotter today than it was yesterday. Got to a top of 32 yesterday, and today's meant to be a top of 36. I don't want to spend the whole day in the yard. It's already getting late, it's like 10 to 10. Now try and get those agapanthus planted and plant the little grasses that my wife wanted planted. She actually wants them up in the front yard above where the retaining wall will be above the driveway. So that's where I'm going to go and try and plant those. I'll use plenty of our compost, build up the soil for them, and fingers crossed they'll survive. Some of them are actually kicking back and re-sprouting. The others, they're a pretty dry looking grass to begin with, so it's hard to tell if they're dead. Plant them, fertilise them, water them, and we'll see what happens with them. Batman's hanging out with Dad. So they look a little sad, especially every second one. These spiky ones here, they have this really rich purple leaf grass, and then they've got some nice big fluffy stalk flowers on them. I think this one is just like a bushing out grass, so I've just basically put them together, one alternating, so you can see that these ones sort of cop the worst of being in the pot until we get up to here, and some of these are looking a little sad, but my fingers crossed that they might spring back, except for that bit. And there's one right in the top there too, so being planted, being watered, having some nutrients around them, they might spring up, and this is where that retaining wall's going to go. Good boy, Sam. Brush your teeth, carrot. Okay. Big stretch. Good boy. He's a good boy. Batman's still going on his. He gets a slightly bigger bit. Sam started first. Good boy. That's where the other Agapanthus was that I ripped out. So Sam's inspecting. There. And there. It's a dreary Monday morning, letting you know it's Monday. Got very hot yesterday, but I'm glad I got done what I got done. Made me absolutely exhausted that I went to take a nap in the afternoon before getting on with some stuff for uni and work. Set myself an alarm. I woke up still super tired. I turned off the alarm and I fell back asleep for about another hour. Today I'm going to a different venue. That reminds me, I should have grabbed my odometer. I have to go in for head teacher planning meeting. Myself and the other head teachers of TAS and the other campuses, we meet at the start of the year, sort of plan out the year. They've decided to use a particular venue for every meeting rather than us going off to different campuses. I think it used to be the old Wayland High School, now apparently a resource centre named after Henry Parkes, our Prime Minister, I think at the time of Federation, 1900s. There's Sir Henry Parkes' grave in Falconbridge up here in the mountains. Apparently that's where he lived. Anyway, going in there, it's not for the whole day, it's just for morning up to lunchtime session. Going to miss Year 11 and Year 12 construction. I'll get back there in time for Year 10 timber last period. This week is going to feel pretty disjointed. Wednesday, apparently I'm going to be off class for the whole day because I'm a panel member for interviewing for a head teacher position in our school. Part of being that panel member is you need to read all of the CVs from potential applicants, and then all the panel members get together and we go through the CVs to shortlist. Following Wednesday, I believe, is when the interviews will be. I don't have a lot on those days, but it still does take me away from classes. With these things, my TAFE, it feels like I'm missing a lot. I feel very disjointed. I don't seem to be into a flow and a groove. A lot of things seem to be like, they're getting done, but I always feel like I could dedicate more time to things. Part of that is just a little bit of perfectionism, a little bit of OCD, a little bit of imposter syndrome. I don't know why I get imposter syndrome about my job. I've done it for 18 years. I mean, head teacher. I always feel like, oh, you could always do things better. Uni. I'll be really pleased when uni is finished. I should finish it this year because I've only got 2 semesters to go, because that'll be one less thing on my plate. Just finished with Year 12 and we've got 2 cabinets still being worked on. This one only needs to get the door attached to it now. That one's still got to get its braces in and get the door on and the shelf in. And then there's 2 groups here that have got their stuff marked out ready to cut. Was wondering where you were.